All right, so the last little bit here that we want to do, and this might be a little bit difficult depending on the your project that you're working on, is to do like textural elements, right? So my dog should have hair. Right now, it's kind of a smooth body. She's got a smooth body like her smooth brain. I didn't obviously do any sculpting, so I would have this a little more sculpt than what I have, but just, just showing you as an example here. So what I would do is go online and just download textures. So I looked up dog fur seamless. So I downloaded this one and I also downloaded this image as well. This one is not seamless. I opened up Photopea, and you can actually tell by looking at it, see how dark this is and how light this is. So clearly this is not seamless. It was a lie. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make it seamless. So if I go to filter and then do other, and then we're going to go to offset, and then you just adjust this slider. So basically, it puts the outside inside, if that makes sense. And now I'll hit OK. And now what I can do is use my heal brush and other tools in order to basically make that better. So you should already know Photoshop, but obviously there's the healing tools here. So I'm just going to try and use the spot one. Oops, that went in a direction I was not anticipating. Give that a second. Okay, so I'm going to undo that, hopefully. Did you undo? Control Z? There it goes. Okay. I'm just going to hold Shift and brush down, and let's hope that it looks okay, because I don't really want to spend a bunch of time on it. I just want to show you how you would do it. That looks not great, but we're just going to go with it. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to hold Shift so it stays straight. Okay. And let's see how this turns out. I'm going to pause it while it thinks about what it's doing. So this still isn't great. I would do a little bit better job. One of the things that I like to do actually is usually the patch tool. So I will grab like chunks and then I will sample other chunks. And the reason why I like this method is that it makes it more varied, because that way it's not as obvious where the seam is. So I usually try to grab pieces and then just go through, like especially like this looks not that great. Um, I'll go through and I'll just kind of grab chunks and go back and forth and back and forth. You can also tell generally this a little bit, there's a darker area in here, so I might try and do some like adjustments, but I don't feel like spending a bunch of time. Utilize your Photoshop skills. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and save this. So we'll do file, export, and we'll export this as we'll just do a JPEG's fine. And then I will hit save. That looks okay. Um, all right, so I have this one, which is kind of seamless. I also downloaded this one. It would be nice to get like let's say fur alpha, and we're just going to look for something that would sort of work. So let's go with, these all kind of suck. I'm just going to go with this one here. So I'm just going to save, let's say this. So save image as, and I will save that JPEG. Um, and goody. Okay. So now let's go ahead and go to back to Blender. And now that we have those to work with, we can start, start playing around with this. So what I'm going to do is basically, I'm going to grab the regular sculpt here because I'm just looking to put basically that pattern on there. I'm going to go down, or I'm going to go up to the brush settings here. And then you will see texture, and then we can add our textures here, right? So let's go ahead and we will do a new, actually, let me check that real quick, stroke, yeah. We'll do a new texture. And after I did new, I'm just going to go down here and we can see it here. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit open. And then I'm going to go to my downloads and I'm going to grab my pictures that I just made. Is there a way to make, I want this to be by date. I don't know how to do that though. Is it this? I usually do everything by date so that way the stuff's on the top. But I guess we'll have to just, um, okay. I was hoping to get to the fur here. We'll start with here we go. So we have I don't know which one. I think this one's our seamless one. So I'm just gonna grab this and then we'll hit open image. And now that will be our texture. So I'm gonna go back to the brush settings. Um, okay, that looks okay. and you can see it says area plane. And if we make this a little bit bigger, you can start to see it. And when I brush across, you can see the texture there. Make sure you have Dino Topo on, because that will help. So let's, I want it pretty weak because I'm just trying to affect the surface. And then I want to do R and make sure that it's dense enough that it can support the texture. So it's going to be pretty dense. And if I brush across, um, you can see it's there a little bit. So this may or may not work that well. My concern is that, oh, okay, I got to keep turning this on. My concern is if I try to go too dense, it's just going to be very difficult to work with. And Shift F, I got to make it weaker still. So now if I brush this across, if I get close, you should be able to see it. Let's get, oh, okay, that was too close. But hopefully you can kind of see it's doing a little bit of a texture. It's not super great. Um, but yeah, so you can see that there. Let's do another one. So I'm going to click on here and then I'm just going to add another texture. So I'm just going to click this little button here, which will basically just duplicate this one. But I'm going to change the image here. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to find that other one that I grabbed. I'm going to show you another way of doing this. Where are you? Not that one. Is that? Maybe it's this one. Is that it? That might be it. I can't really tell. I think that's it. Okay. So we're going to go back up here and it's already on texture 02. That's fine. But instead of doing area plane, we'll go ahead and do stencil. And then you can see the stencil over here. So we can then move that over here. So I just right click and I drag it over. And then I don't know if you can see it, but it's going in the wrong direction. So I'm going to hold right click and control, and that will rotate it. And then right click and shift will change the scale of it. And since this is kind of like um, an underneath fur, I'm just going to use this. So now when I brush, it's going to brush over top of that and then use that pattern. Um, and I'm just going to turn this off back to view plane. You can see it's not working super well. All right. So some of these might not work too well. Let's try the other brush. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to click on this again. And we're going to go ahead. I'm going to grab the stencil that I got, or the alpha. All right, let's go back up here. And let's see what that does. Okay, that works a little bit better. Okay, but you will notice that it's creating, let me make this a little bit bigger. We'll do Shift F. You can notice that it's repeating that pattern, which I'm not as big a fan of. So what I'm going to do instead, and I like that it keeps turning Dino Top off every time. It's really cool. Is this. We're going to go and we could use stencil. I don't want to use that. Um, uh, we could use tile, which will tile one after the other, but you can see that's not really that great either. So I'm going to leave it on view plane, but I'm going to change it so that makes sure it goes in the direction I'm brushing. And then we are going to, hang on a second. Yeah. Um, let's go to stroke. And then what we're going to do is we can change the spacing of this. So we have it on spacing. I'm going to take the spacing and switch it from, let's do around 75. It's probably pretty close. And what that's going to do is that, okay, so you see the distance isn't quite right. It's not quite overlapping. So I want it a little bit closer. So I'm going to do, basically the spacing is how far it, when I hold and drag, how far across it makes each brush. And so that's not quite what I want. I want a little bit less. Let's just do 70. Okay. And then you'll also notice that it's sideways. See how it's going that direction? So I need to rotate this. So right now it's 270. Let's just try doing 0 for my angle and see if that goes in the right direction. There we go. That's better. Okay. And now you can see that it is brushing basically in that direction. And so I'm just going to hit Shift F and make this much weaker. And I should be able to basically brush this down, and you can see it's adding fur. Now, it's not the greatest, but it kind of gets the idea. So I think the spacing needs to be even less. Let's try 50% and see if that's 50% seems to be better. Okay. Another way to do this is instead of doing it by spacing, we could do drag dot. And the way that this is going to work is that when I click, it'll drag the dot, and then I can just place each one so that I make sure that it's exactly how I want it to be. And you can see, voila, we are now adding some fur onto our model. Now, depending on the resolution of the ability of your computer and the resolution of your model and everything else, this may be easier or harder to do. So I find that the using the stencils and that sort of style did not work very well. Using the alpha seemed to work a little bit better. So if you want to add some textural components, such as you see here, what you want to do is just grab alphas. What it's going to do is it's going to take the white as the positive and the black as um, uh, transparent, if that makes sense. So that's why this works pretty okay. Trying to think if there's anything else in here that you could try these other ones as well. There's a variety of things. Try play around with these settings. Um, but yeah, so that's the idea. Hopefully, you guys can follow along. I'm not worried about it having like crazy amounts of texture. If you don't have a ton of texture, that's totally acceptable. So you can go online and look up other texture sites. Just look up like skin. So I saw like this one, and then I grabbed like another one. So if you want to look up like skin or brush alpha skin or skin brush alpha, so this one might work well for like the nose. Let's see if I can brush it on there. Okay. Okay, a second ago. Let's see. There it goes. So you can see it has like that kind of skin texture. Um, I might need to take the spacing, actually put it back to 1, and then I could just make this smaller, and then I just stamp it like that, so that that way it, come on. Uh, it's a little rough to get to work. Let's see. I guess now it's gonna work. Um, so like, there's that. So you can look up skin. Um, I also found another one. Where is it? Let's grab this other one I saw. Like these are okay. Let's see what that looks like. So, yeah. So you can do this for like scratches and stuff. So basically, look up different textures, and if you want to try and like brush those on, so you can see like right there, it has like these little scratch marks, which can be kind of good. I'm gonna take the Dino Topo, and I think right now it's on 2. I would just maybe take this and let's try doing like 5 and see if that works a little bit better, just so that the response, see, that's too low. So you got to play around with this resolution. Let's try doing 3. Let's see if that's enough. Yeah, so 3 seems okay, but you can see it's not very responsive, right? So I can't really see what I'm getting until after it's done. This is one of the problems with doing everything through the Dino Topo, is that it's just not going to be as responsive as if you did it through the multi-resolution. Um, so yeah, anyway, there you go.